Hello everyone, I'm Frank and welcome to Frank Puzzles. And this is today's average level difficulty puzzle. And I should have had probably a disclaimer on my other videos today, but average level is considered average for a group called a forum called Logic Masters Germany, and people in the forum are pretty intelligent, and this what they might think is average might not be average for you. So keep that in mind, please. I just did a couple of puzzles today that were supposedly easy, but did not feel the easiest. So we'll see if this is actually average for me personally. Anyways, on to the puzzle. It's called Weeds by Abdul the Killer. And here are the rules. Standard Sudoku rules apply, which means place the digits 1 through 9 in every row, every column, and every box. Shading. In the completed grid, cells containing numbers exactly one greater than an immediate neighbor, diagonal or orthogonal, within their box, specifically within their box, are shaded, and otherwise unshaded. So, assume this was a 2 and a 1. Cells containing numbers exactly one greater than an immediate neighbor. So this contains a number which is exactly one greater than an immediate neighbor within the box. So this 2 is next to a 1. And if the 1 were here, that would also work. So like, yeah, this 3 would be next to 2, and therefore must be shaded. And if it's not adjacent to one, to a number that's 1 less, yeah, contains a number exactly 1 greater than a neighbor, right? So if it does not, if there's no neighbors in the box, it has to be in the box, remember. So yeah, if it contains a number that is exactly 1 greater than a neighbor, or any neighbor in the box, it is shaded. Otherwise, it's unshaded. Okay. I hope that was clear. I'm not sure if I'm sort of trying to explain it on the fly. But hopefully that was clear. Yin Yang. The shaded cells form a single orthogonally connected region, as do the unshaded cells. And no 2x2 region is wholly shaded or unshaded. So, what this means is specifically you cannot have any 2x2 space in the grid be wholly shaded or unshaded. And remember, they have to be contiguous. It has to be one contiguous shape for the shaded and the unshaded. So, for example, this is a valid yin-yang shading, right? Because if you check, all the shaded cells are contiguous, and all the unshaded cells are contiguous, which means touching each other orthogonally, right? It's single orthogonally connected region. And on top of that, there is no 2x2 space that actually has all shaded or all unshaded. And that's yin yang. And there are certain actual tricks you can, shortcuts, I guess I would say, if you know about yin yang shading. And we'll get to that when in the actual solve. Red daisies. Values in cells with daisies give the number of shaded cells in the up to 8 surrounding cells. So remember, like this, so this 4 indicates in the 8 surrounding cells, there are 4 shaded cells. And all possible daisies are given. So if there were, say, like some If basically all the possible red daisies are given, so there cannot be another cell which has a matching number of shaded cells and the number itself. That's very important. Remember this. So this is a negative constraint. So normally we'd say that there are no negative constraints, but this is a negative constraint, which means that all the red daisies are given. Blue weeds. Values in cells with weeds, which is the blue, are strictly less than the number of shaded cells in the up to surrounding 8 surrounding cells. But not all possible weeds are given. I'm not sure if that means that there has to be another weed, or if it's just saying that you can have more than one. We'll get to that probably near the end game when we see that. But again, the number in the weed cell, the value in cells with weeds are strictly less than the number of shaded cells in the 8 surrounding cells. And that does not have the negative constraint. It might actually have a negative constraint, which means that there might be a requirement that there is another weed which is not specifically given. Actually, that actually almost has to be the case, right? Yeah, that's almost certainly the case, right? Because there's got to be a one somewhere where there's more than one shaded. I think that's almost tautologically correct. Anyways, um, so the red daisies have a negative constraint, so remember that, and the blue weeds do not. So the blue weeds could be anywhere else. So they could be numbers with less than the actual value of shaded cells in the surrounding 8 cells. Okay, and those are all the rules. If you like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's go. Okay, so shaded cells. So we know this 2 is shaded because cells containing numbers exactly 1 greater than an immediate neighbor, which 2 is greater than 1, within their shells are shaded. So this is shaded. The 3 is shaded because it's next to a 2. In the box, remember it has to be in the box. We don't know about this 2. We don't know anything else. So these 2 are shaded. So one of the things is about yin-yang shading, coloring, is that we know this cannot be shade. Since these 2 are shaded, these 2 cannot be unshaded. One of them has to be shaded, obviously, because of the 2 by 2 rule, where there's no completely shaded 2 by 2 spaces or unshaded 2 by 2 spaces. So one of them has to be unshaded, but the other one has to be shaded. And this, you can show this sort of like just logically, but say that this was the case, that this was unshaded and this was unshaded. We know then this has to connect because this is all one contiguous shape. But the problem is, if to connect them, you have to either go around this way or you have to go around this way. And either way, that breaks up these 2 cells into 2 separate spaces. So we know now one of these is shaded and one of these is unshaded. We just don't know which one's which. So this has specifically 4 shaded cells around it. This has 6 shaded cells around it in the surrounding 8. This has only 1. Okay. And ones can never be shaded, right? In the completed grid, cells containing numbers exactly 1 greater than an immediate neighbor, diagonal or orthogonal within their box are shaded and otherwise unshaded. And 1 can never be next to 0. So 1 is always unshaded. So this is always unshaded. There's only one shaded cell here. So if this were the shaded cell, these would all be unshaded. And that doesn't work. This has to be the shaded cell. So this has to be unshaded. This is unshaded, which means this is shaded. Oh, and also I think in this, for the shading, with the cells containing numbers exactly 1 greater than an immediate neighbor, as long as the central digit is not 1, it's shaded, right? Because it's next to all other 8 cells in the box. So the one, like, so for example, this 6 has to be next to a 5 in the box. So therefore, it has to be shaded. And this is a non-1 because this is 1. So this has to also be shaded, which means this is, and this is unshaded. So this has to be shaded, which means this is unshaded. In addition, this has to be shaded because it's a non-1. So it's always going to be next to something that it's 1 greater than. So this is shaded. This is shaded. This is shaded. This is shaded. So we have those 3. Again, you have the same rule where if you have 2 diagonally across from each other, one of them is unshaded, the other one has to match the shading, and the other one has to be the opposite shading. So since this one is unshaded, this one has to be shaded. So this is from Sudoku 6, 7, 8, or 9. This from Sudoku is 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. This could technically be 1. This cannot be 1, so this is shaded. This cannot be 1, so this is shaded. Okay, so this is a 2. So for blue weeds, values are strictly less than the number of shaded cells. Okay, so this is exactly 5. This is exactly 6. Oh, interesting. 6 shaded cells. Which means we have 9 shaded. We have 7 out of the 9 in box 6 are shaded. Okay. That means there is an unshaded in one of these. Okay, there's 6 shaded in these 8. You can never have... So, in a yin-yang puzzle, once you have a break in the yin-yang... So for one thing, yeah, in a yin-yang puzzle, once you, on the edges specifically, once it switches from one shading to the other, it cannot switch back and then forth. So there has to be, so it has to be all one shading, all one color, and then all one color next to each other. And if you think about it logically, it makes sense, right? So say you had, this was a stretch of blue, and then you had another green, and then another blue, right? The problem here is that the blues have to connect, and that specifically locks out this green from connecting with this green. So again, you have one contiguous section on the edge that's all blue, and one contiguous section that would be all green, or all shaded and all unshaded. In box 6, since there are 6 shaded cells, you can never have all 3 contiguous shaded cells here. Unshaded cells. So this would be If you had 3, that would only be 5 shaded cells in the surrounding 8 boxes for this cell. So we know this specifically is shaded. And if we try to make these two unshaded, the problem is you know that the rest of them are shaded, and then you would have a 2x2 box that's shaded. So this one cannot be shaded either, or sorry, unshaded either. So this is shaded. And because you have this set, this has to be unshaded because of the 2x2 rule, right? If this is shaded, sorry, if this is unshaded, you have another 2x2 area which is all shaded, right? Because these are the two unshaded squares in the neighbors. So this one has to be shaded also. And then that forces this to be unshaded, which forces all of these to be shaded. So this is all shaded. So therefore, this connects out this way. We don't know which way this goes. This has 4, so this is shaded, shaded, shaded. These are unshaded. This has to be shaded. So that means this has to be shaded too. And then this has to be unshaded. This all has to be unshaded because it must connect. Therefore, we know all of this is unshaded. So therefore, that forces this to be shaded because of, oh, we also need that because of the 1. But this has to be shaded because of the 2x2 rules. This is unshaded. So these are all shaded. We have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that works. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So only one of these is shaded and 2 of them are unshaded. Okay, this 1 is strictly less than 5, which is fine. This 2 is strictly less than 6, which is fine. This 2, remember the values in the weeds are strictly less than the number of shaded cells in the up to 8 surrounding cells. This is unshaded, this is unshaded. This has to be less than, so this has to be 3. In which those are the only 3 possibilities, and that's shaded. Therefore, this is unshaded because of this 2x2 space. We have 3 shaded here. This must go somewhere, and it can't go this way, this way, this way, so this must go here, so that's unshaded. Okay. This is strictly less. Again, same thing here. Oh wait, this is exactly 2. Because this is a red daisy. This has at least 2. Because this is 2, it has to be less than, so it's less than 4. So at least 2 of these are. It could be 3. This has 2 in exactly 2. This has 2 out of these 4, and it's exactly 2. This has 2 out of these 4, and it's exactly 2. Fortunately, this isn't telling us very much there. Okay, let's try to figure out the yin-yang. So the 2 is greater than 1. The 6 has to, or we don't know what that number is, never mind. This 6 must be next to a 5. This 4 must be next to a 3. So the 3 has to be in one of these boxes, right? And remember, it's only in their box. This 2 is not here, so this 1 cannot be here. The 1 is either in this box or one of these 2 boxes. This 2 also is not next to the 1. So the 1 has to be one of those. This 2 is obviously next to the 1. Oh, the 1 has to be in one of these two spots, right? The 1 can never be, the 1 is always unshaded. So in box 8, sorry, 6, in box 6, where can the 1 be? It has to be in one of the unshaded, so it has to be there. Therefore, the 1 can't be here, the 1 can't be here, the 1 can't be here because these are shaded. Therefore, this is the 1. So this can no longer be 1, which means this is 1. We have 1 here, 1 here. Because 1s are always unshaded. So the 1 has to be either here or here. And 1 can be any of these 4 right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's fine. This is 2, which is less than 6. This is 3, so which is has to be less than 2. Okay. So the 2 has to be one of these two. Oops. One of these two. If this is 2, this would have actually no. Okay. So if the 2 is here, obviously it's blue and it's a 1. If this is 2, because the 1 could only be here and here and here. If this is 2, the 2 has to be one of these two, which means the 3 is next to it. So this has to be blue. This has to be shaded. Okay. If this is 2, it works because it's shaded, so in the 1 can only be it's touching it. If this is 2, that means this cannot be 1, and this would have to be the 1. Oh, the 1 has to be in one of these 4 squares, and therefore this has to be shaded. One of these is blue, one of these is shaded, one of these is unshaded because of that. But yeah, the 1 has to be in one of these 4 squares, therefore the 2 is touching it orthogonally or diagonally, therefore it must be shaded. Where else can the 1 be? The 1 could be here or here. The 2 is one of these 3. If this is 2, I guess the 1 would be one of those. If that's 2, obviously it's the center one, so that's fine. If this is 2, it would have to be one of those. Okay, it doesn't really help much. If it's 2, it's here. If it's 2, this has to be 1. If this is 2, this has to be 1. If this is 2, this has to be 1. The 2 is also here, and it fits any of these. So if it's either here, it is shaded, and it's touching the 1. If it's 2 here, it's unshaded, and it's not touching the 1. So that actually also works. 4 cannot be here or here. So 4 is one of these 3. 5 has to be one of these 2. It also cannot be here or here, so this is 5. Or this is 5. Cannot be here or here. So this is 5. Which fits all of them too. Again, if this is 5, it touches a 4. If this is 5, any of these 3 are 5, it's not touching the 4. So this is shaded. This has at least 6 shaded next to it. It cannot obviously be 8. It could be 7? No, it cannot be 7 because this is actually could be unshaded. This could be unshaded, and that's possible then. This is 3. Interesting. So if these two are shaded or unshaded, this could be unshaded, and then this would be unshaded, right? Or this would be shaded. So only one out of these 3 is shaded. Oh, that's a problem. Okay. This is closed off from the rest of the unshaded cells, so it must connect to the unshaded cells somewhere here, right? If this were the unshaded cell, these two would be shaded. Oh, wait, no. It's 2 unshaded cells. Okay, so if we made this the shaded cell, these 2 would have to be unshaded. The problem is this has to be next to 6 unshaded cells, right? I guess that's still possible. Never mind. It could go out this way. That's possible. Yeah. Never mind. This has 3, so this has 2 exactly from these 4. So if this was shaded, let's say that was shaded. If this is shaded, this has to be unshaded because of the 2x2 space. We know one of these is shaded. Sorry, unshaded. At least one of these is unshaded. So if that's the case, one of these is unshaded. This one's unshaded. So that means 2 unshaded out of 8, which means 6 shaded so far out of 8. So therefore there cannot be any more unshaded cells around this number. But the problem, because 5 has to be less than 6 at least. But the problem is if these become shaded, that is a 2x2 shaded area, which is not possible. Therefore, this cannot be shaded. This has to be unshaded because of that. So again, let me explain the logic here. So say this was shaded. If this was shaded, this one has to be unshaded because of the 2x2 rule. We know because of this 5, there's only at most one shaded cell here. So one of them at least has to be unshaded. And because this is a 5 and it has to be less than the number of shaded cells, there has to be at least 6 shaded cells in the surrounding 8. So since there's one unshaded cell here, one unshaded cell here, that takes care of the 2 unshaded cells possible. So then the rest of them have to be shaded, which means you have to shade both of these, which forms a 2x2 area, which is all shaded, which is not possible. Therefore, this cell has to be unshaded. So the 4 cannot be next to it. The 4 specifically has to be here, right? It cannot be touching orthogonally or diagonally to the 4 because it's unshaded. So the 4 has to be here. If the 4 is here, it's touching the 3 orthogonally, and 4 is here touching the 3 diagonally. So but these are unshaded. So this does not work here for the 4. Therefore, this must be the 4, which eliminates the 4 here, which means this must be 4. Because that's the only other place possible. So this is 4 here. The 4 cannot be here. The 4 is one of these. The 4 is also one of these. And the 4 is one of these. So since the 4 is one of these, that means the 3 has to be one of these 3, right? If that's a 4, where's the 3? The 3 has to be here. So the 3 would have to be here. If this is 4, that can't be 3. The 3 would have to be one of these 2. If this is 4, one of these 2 would have to be 3. So the 3 has to be here too. So if this was 3, it would be next to a 2, but it would be unshaded, which does not fit the shading rule. So this cannot be 3 specifically. So the 3 is one of these two. So if this is 4, this is 3. If this is 4, this is 3. If this is 4, this is 3. Yeah, that all works. So the 3 is always next to, is always here, and is always shaded. So that means it has to be next to a 2. So if this is 3, that cannot be 2. If this is 3, that cannot be 2. But this 2 satisfies both of these 3s. Being shaded. So this could actually have 7 shaded cells around here. That's possible. This is unshaded, so 2 out of these 3 have to be shaded. So either... So, okay. Yeah, it could go down here, and then here. Wait, that's not possible. Say this was shaded. If this is shaded, these 2 have to be unshaded, right? Oh wait, no, this is unshaded. So that doesn't, there's no requirement there. Never mind. Okay, that doesn't help. Only 2 out of these 4s are shaded. Only 2 out of these 3 are shaded. One of these is shaded. One of these is unshaded. Only one of these is shaded. At least 4 more are shaded in these 6. At least, well, I mean, this has a full complement. This is exactly 2 out of 3. This is exactly 2 out of 4. This is exactly 1 out of 3. This is exactly 2 out of 3. Oh, the 3 has to be here. Okay. The 5 obviously is one of those. This is unshaded. Oh, so this can't be 4. Right. This can't be 4 because then this 5 would have to be shaded. So the 4 has to be one of these 2, which means this cannot be 4. 5 has to be here. 4 has to be here. Since 5 is here, if this is 5, it sees both 4s. If this is 5, it sees both 4. But therefore, this has to be the 5. Because the 5 is next to the 4, no matter what. So this has to be the 5, which means this cannot be 5. The 4 is one of these. This can't be 4 because it would be, it's next to the 3 specifically, and the 4 has to be shaded then. So this is 4. So this cannot be 4 either. So this is 4. This is 5, which means one of these is 5. The 4 has to be one of these. So this cannot be 3. This cannot be 3. The 3 has to be one of these 3, right? If this is 3, that sees both of these. If this is 3, that sees both of these. And then the 4 would have to be shaded, which is not. So this becomes 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 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 6, 7, 8, 9. This can't be 1. If this is 3, it's connected. If it's these are 3, they're not connected. That's okay. Ah, if this is shaded, so say we shaded that, that means these are both unshaded. And then that's the allotted unshaded cells around 5, because this must have 6 shaded cells around it, which would force all of these to be shaded, but then this becomes a block by itself, and that's not allowed in yin yang. So this cannot be shaded, therefore this is unshaded, therefore this is shaded. So the 1 cannot be here anymore. This could be 4. This is either 4 unshaded or this is 4 shaded. And because this is unshaded and it's in the center, this must be the 1, right? There's no other value. Like if this were any other value, it's next to a digit that it's 1 greater than. So this must be a 1. So this is 1, which means this can't be 1, this can't be 1, this can't be 1. So that has to be the 1, which means this can't be 1. So the 1 is one of those 2. So this is also 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 here, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 here. One of these is 1. And remove the 4s there. So this can't be 6 because it's next to a 5 and it's unshaded. This can't be 6 because this is not next to a 5 and it is shaded. This can't be 7, 8, or 9 actually either, because none of these, this is shaded and it's not next to the 6, 7, 8, or 9 that it would have. 6, 7, or 8 it would have to be next to be shaded. So this is 4. This can't be 4, so this becomes a 3, 4 pair here. So this is 3 and 4 because those are only possibilities for 4. Therefore, this is 2. Therefore, this is 1. So this cannot be 2. Cannot be 2. This is 2. This is 1, which means this can't be 1. This can't be 4. So this is shaded. We have only 1 from this set. So because this is 2 out of 3, there's only 1 more possible here. So there's only 1 here, so this one has to be shaded. So this one has to be the shaded unshaded, and therefore this is unshaded. So this is either one of these is shaded, one of these is unshaded. We don't know which. This has to be shaded. This is blocked in by this, therefore this must be unshaded. So this is unshaded. It cannot be 6. Because this is next to a 5, it would have to be shaded then. Same here, that can't be 6. This must be a 6 because this is the only place possible now. This can't be a 7 because it would be next to a 6, so the 7 has to be one of these 2. This 5, yeah, is not next to the 4, so it's unshaded. That actually works really well. This 4 is next to the 3 and shaded. 3 is not next to the 2 and shaded. So this is 7. If this was 8, this would be shaded, so this cannot be 8. So this has to be a 7, 9 pair, which means this is 8, right? So if this was 8, it's next to the 7, so it has to be unshaded. Or it has to be shaded, but right now it's unshaded. Or not right now, it just is unshaded. So this is 6. One of these is 6, which means the 6 has to be one of these 2. 8 is not next to 7 and unshaded. So the 6 is either here, in which case it's shaded, or this is here, which is in case it's unshaded. Okay. This 3 and 4 are next to each other. So this is 5, 7, 8, 9. 8, 9. This is 5, 7, 8, 9. This is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Obviously that can't be 5. Let's move the 6 here. This is 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. The 4 cannot be here. This is 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, no 6, because we know the 6 is here. This can't be 4, 5. So if this is 3, it's next to both 2. So this one cannot be 3. Therefore, the 3 is here, which eliminates 3 here, which means this is a 1, 3 pair, because the only 1, 3 in row 3 can only be in these two cells. So this is 1, 3, this is 7, 9. If this is a 3, it cannot be next to the 2. Therefore, neither of these can be shaded, because the 1 can't be shaded ever anyways. So this is 1, 3, these are unshaded, therefore this has to be shaded. So that counts for the 2 there. This becomes, oops. We have 4, 6, and 8, and this is 5, 6, and 8. That can't be 6. So 6 and 8 are here, 6, 8 with 7, 9. This becomes 2, 3, 6, and 8. Right? So no 2, 6 there. So 2's either here. So this could be 3, and that would be 2. That works. This could be 3, and one of these is 2. That works. This is 3. If this is 3, it would have to be next to 2, but that's there. So this cannot be 3. So the 4 is next to a 3, so this has to be the 3. So this can't be 3. If this is 6 or 8, then either the 7 or the 9 would be shaded, and then none of those are shaded, so therefore this is the 2. So this can't be 2. If this was 6, it would be shaded next to a 5, so this can't be 6. So this is 5, 8, 5, 8. This is 4, 6. This can't be 6. Okay. The 2 is not next to the 1. The 3 is next to the 2 and shaded. If this is 5, it's not next to the 4, so this cannot be shaded, but so therefore this can't be 5. Same here. If this is 5, it's not next to the 4, therefore it wouldn't be shaded. Therefore this has to be 5, this has to be 4, this has to be 3. Because it has to be, the shaded cells have to be next to the cell that they're 1 greater than. So this can't be 5. This can't be 4. And this can't be 3. 3 is next to the 2. 7, 8, and 9 are all shaded. If this was 9, the 8 and 7 would be separated. Okay, also by Sudoku, this is 8, this is 5, this is 6. So the 6 is next to the 5 is not next to the 4. This can't be 7 because that would be next to the 6, so this is 9, this is 7. So the 9 is not next to the 6 and is unshaded, which works. 7 is not next to the 6. Or sorry, the 9 is not next to the 8 and is unshaded. So then we have, this is, what's left here is 6 and 9. This is 6 and 9. This is 7 and 8. This is 7 and 8. And we have 2, 3, and 5. This can't be 3. This can't be 5 because it's a Sudoku. If this was a 2, it's not next to the 1, so it would therefore have to be unshaded. So this has to be the 5 then. The 2 and 3 are not next to each other, so this one also has to be unshaded. Because the 2 is not next to the 1, the 3 is not next to the 2, the 7 is not next to the 6. Okay, so that means the 7 specifically cannot be next to the 6, and the 8 cannot be next to the right. So this can't be 5. The 5 has to be here. This becomes 1, 6, 7, or 9. This is 1, 6, 7, or 9. No 8. This is 2, 7, 8, 9. So let's remove the corners because I don't like the corner stuff. Okay. This becomes what? 1, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Obviously no 1, 3 here. This could be 2, 6, 7, 8, 9. This can't be 2 though. Okay. So the 3 has to be next to the 2, which is, it is. Okay, the 5, one of these is shaded, one of these is unshaded. It must, okay, so this has to be shaded because it has to be contiguous. And otherwise, if it's unshaded, it would block that. Okay, this is contiguous so far. So this is done, this is done, this is done. This has to have at least 5. That's 1, 2. This must have at least 6. We know one of these is, and one of them isn't. So this has to be 6 then. If one of these is not, and say it connected, right? But the rest were shaded, then this is by itself, which is not loud. So 7, 8, 9. If this, again, if this was 9, that would separate 8 and 7, so this cannot be 9. In fact, I think this has to be... Yeah, if this is 7, that would separate 8 and 9, and then they wouldn't all be shaded. So this has to be 8. So this cannot be 8 here. This can't be 8. Because the 8 has to be next to the 7 and the 9 for all three of these to be shaded. So this can't be 8. This is 3, 7, 9, which means this cannot be 7 or 9. So this is 6 and 8. This can't be 6 and 8 because we have a 2, 6, 8 pair. So this cannot be 7, 8, or 9 here, which means there's no 5 here, no 4. This has to be the 1, which means this is a 4, 5 pair. 1 is unshaded. The 5 is always next to the 4, so the 5 has to be shaded, and that's the only possibility here. So this is 4. Oops. This is 4, which means the 3 cannot be next to it because the 4 cannot be, the 4 is unshaded, so this has to be the 3. This has to be unshaded because it's not next to the 2 in the box. So this is 6. This is 4 because of Sudoku. This can't be 6. This can't be 5 because of Sudoku. This can't be 1 or 3 because of Sudoku. The 5 can only be here, right? Because this can't be 5, this can't be 5, this can't be 5, this can't be 5. This has to be the 5. And it's not next to the 4, so that's good. Okay, so this has to connect. So this has to go down. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there has to be at least one more. And then, yeah. So this is connected, this is fine. If this was, I guess this could be 8. No, if this is, yeah, that works actually. Never mind. If this is 9, obviously 8's next to it. This can't be 6. Well, it could be 6 because that's 7. Right. Never mind. Let's just delete the those. So this could be 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. No 2 or 6 because of these two. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we know the 3 is one of these 3. That doesn't help. Okay, so the 2 is blue. The 5 is not next to the 4. If that's 6, it's blue. If it's that 6, it's unshaded green. Okay. This cannot be 7. If this is 7, it's not next to the 6. It would have to be unshaded. So this has to be 8 or 9. Which means the 7 is over here because this can't be 7, this can't be 7, this has to be the 7 in column 3. So there is no 7 anywhere else in box 7. We have 7, 8, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9. So this cannot be 8 or 9 because of that triplet. So this has to be 1 or 3. If this is 2, no, that's not true. If this is 2, this is 3 and 1, so that works. If this is 2, the 1 is next to any of them, so that works. If this is 2, the 1 has to be one of those two, and that works. Okay, so, okay. Yeah, this seems about average level difficulty. It's just, going through. Now it's just making sure all the rules are conformed to. This could be 9. That could be 9, that would be 8, that would be 7, so that works. If this is 8, this is 9, that's 7. Okay, this can't be 7 because it's next to the 6, but then it would have to be unshaded. Therefore, this is the 7, yeah, and this is why I'm talking about going through all the rules, making sure that all the rules are followed. So this is 9, this is 7, all because it's a Sudoku. So this 7 touches the 6. If this was 9, it's not next to the 8, so this could not be shaded. So this has to be the 8 shaded, which means that's the 9 unshaded. This is 6 because it's a Sudoku. 8, 8. This can't be 6 or 8. This can't be 6 or 8. So this is 7, 9. This can't be 8. These can't be 8. So if this was 1, it would not be there because it's shaded. So that can't be 1. So 1 is either here or here. Hmm. 6 is one of those 3. So if this is 6, it's not next to the 5 and would not be shaded. So that can't be 6. This can't be 6 because this is next to the 5, but this cell is unshaded. So this can't be 6. Therefore, this is a 6. This can't be 6. This must be the 2. So the 1 could actually still be in either case. This can't be 2. So this is a 1, 2, 3 pair. If this is 3, this is 2. So that does not work. If this is 3, the 2 would have to be here, but the 3 is not next to the 2, so this would be unshaded. So this has to be 2. This makes that 3, which makes that 2. Which makes that 1, which makes that 3. So 2 is next to the 1. This has to be 1. This can't be 1. This has to be 1. This is 3. This must connect. So it either connects here or here. So this can't be 7, and because it's next to the 6 and it's unshaded. This has to be the 9. So this has to be 7. This has to be 9. This can't be 9. This can't be 9. This can't be 9. This has to be 7. This is 9. This is 7. This is 6, this is 9, all because it's a Sudoku. No 7, no 7, 9, no 7, no 7. Okay, so the 9 cannot be next to the 8 because it's unshaded, so that's a 7. And then, yeah, that satisfies that. That's a 6, this is an 8, this is a 6, this is a 9. Okay, so this is an 8. Now we can just do the coloring. The 6 is next to the 5, therefore this has to be shaded. The 8 is not next to the 7, so this is unshaded, and that fulfills the 5 around the red daisy. The 9 is next to the 8, so this has to be shaded. The 6 is next to the 5, so that's shaded. The 8 is not next to the 7, so this is unshaded. And now this is connected, so this is fine. And this has 6 shaded cells around this weed, so that's fine. And now the 4 is not next to the 3, so this is unshaded. The 7 is next to the 6, so it is shaded. And let's just fill in the last 2 numbers. And that's the solution. Very cool. Let's just double check. This 2 is next to 3 shaded cells, so it's less than. That's fine. This 1 is next to 5 shaded cells, so it is less than. There's no 2x2 area of the yin-yang puzzle, which is all shaded or all unshaded. This 5 is next to exactly 5 shaded cells. This 2 is next to exactly 2 shaded cells. This 2 is next to 6 shaded cells, so that's less than. This 4 is next to 4 shaded cells exactly. This 3 is next to 4 shaded cells, which is less than. This 2 is next to 3 shaded cells, which is less than. This 5 is next to 5 shaded cells exactly. This 6 is next to all 6 shaded cells exactly. This 4 is next to 7 shaded cells, which is less than. This 5 is next to 6 shaded cells, which is less than. This 3 is next to 3 shaded cells exactly, and this 1 is next to 1 shaded cell exactly. And that was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. I like these combination yin yang combination shading cells puzzles. It's fun. I hope you had fun too along the journey, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.